and welcome back to Meet the Authors. We're so glad you could join us again. We have two for the price of one today, and welcome to John Cuevas and Jason Taylor.
Thank
you.
You.
Fellas, thanks so much for coming and joining me on the set.
Thank you.
All right, so we're talking today about your new book, Discovering Cat Island. Show it to the camera.
That's right.
You get a picture of that one? Yeah, isn't that pretty? So we have a partnership because we have two people working. We have John as the author and Jason as photographer. Is that right?
Sure, that's it.
Is this the first time we worked together on a book?
If you count your Mississippi book, the second time.
Okay, yeah, you have a chapter on Mississippi book. That's right.
Yeah.
So tell me about your book. What inspired you to write this book?
Well, I had a previous book on Cat Island. It was a history of Cat Island, and Cat Island has quite remarkable history, and a lot of people who are connected with the island had never been out there, and they asked me to take them out and show them around, and of course I can't take everybody out there, so the idea came to do a tour book, and when I do that I needed a photographer, and I went to the best.
Oh, right, that's a good recommendation. And Jason, you did the photography for this. How many pictures are in it?
I'm not sure of the exact number.
Well, give me a rough guess.
About 160.
160,
160, mostly full page, a quarter page, or how they do?
Some of both, really.
Yeah. And so these are all fresh pictures, and 160 or so different pictures of an island. Well, that's sort of remarkable, huh?
Right. Well, there are a lot of spicy pictures in there too, like birds and.
Oh, I was thinking maybe bathing beauties.
Yeah. there weren't that many out there.
But no, what a shame. So it's just what is out there on Cat Island? What's exciting about it?
Well, it's more the history than what's out there. What's out there are the remains of history, and such as the World War II dogs that were trained out there, and the remains of the kennels are still there.
I had no idea. Where is Cat Island specifically?
It's directly south of Gulfport, Mississippi.
So it's the one off Gulfport. The one off Biloxi is Deer Island,
That's
right?
Deer Island. That's not part of the chain, but Cat Island is part of the Gulf Islands National Seashore.
Oh, it's part of the National Seashore.
Right,
so it's a park.
It is now a national park.
Okay.
My family was the first owners of Cat Island, and we
Well,
were raised and lived there for 3 generations. The only owners of Cat Island that actually lived there and called it home. Any subsequent owners it's been mostly an investment or so forth. So the old Cuevas home sites out there, and what we do with this book is to show you the historical sites, such as the Cuevas home site. We show you what it looks like today, so the people who have never been out there can actually get a feeling of what Cat Island was all about.
And it survived, your home site, it survived the storm at all?
The home site did. The house has been gone since 1930, but it burned down because of careless campers that were staying in it was vacant at the time, and they accidentally burned it down. Nobody knows who exactly it was, but the home site's still there, and there are various pieces of pottery and things around there, and until it became the National Park Service, you could actually go out there and dig around, but the Park Service doesn't want you to take anything away now.
How many acres is it?
It's, let me figure it out, it's close to 3,000, about 2,500 acres.
Wow, I had no idea, such a big island.
It's big. It's 6 miles, it's a T-shape, and it's 6 miles of each leg of the T, basically.
And it survives storms pretty well, huh? Because
it gets beaten up, but it always comes back.
I like that.
Yeah.
I felt the same way with my girlfriends.
Yeah, I hear you.
And so, Jason, tell me about your photography. How long have you been a photographer?
Well, I started in high school, took it up as a hobby, and kind of moved into doing weddings and portraits and things. And that was in the film days. So that I didn't really like that too much. So as digital came around, it became real easy and convenient to shoot. I started getting back into it as a hobby. And with social media, I just began getting it out there to the public, and it kind of took off. And before I knew it, I had all kind of projects and gallery shows, and Mr. Cuevas called me one day and asked me to help him on this project, and I said yes.
Well, I was particularly impressed with Jason because he focused on the islands, photographing all the barrier islands, particularly Horn Island, and you can't find a photographer who does that. It would be hard to find one that would go out and stay a week at a time with the bugs and hot sun.
Yeah, yeah, not me.
I thought about calling you, but then
Did you?
he's not going. He's not going
I'd
to do
be too
it.
busy, yeah.
He's not going to do it.
So where's your photography shown? You say you do shows and such, huh?
I have had some gallery shows right now. I just kind of have a few photos scattered through a couple of the galleries on the coast. Not much, mostly through social media and Facebook. That's how I kind of sell prints. So.
Self-print and sell. You go out to other shows, like Peter Anderson?
I've done Peter Anderson art in the past.
Okay, or in the past? Yeah, I was art in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's good. And do you have other books? This is I mean, you mentioned you did a chapter in my book, but do you have like other books?
This is it.
Okay, first book for you. But you guys have another book coming out, right?
Yeah, I have another one coming out. He's not involved in that one because it's mostly old photographs from Gulfport the way it was.
So what's the name of the new book?
The new book is called Lost Gulfport. It's part of a series on the History Press, and they call it their Lost series. So it focuses on various cities around and the buildings that are no longer around and that type thing. So I call this Lost Gulfport because Katrina and Camille pretty much wiped out many of the buildings, a lot of vacant spaces down there, and so this book focuses on the way it was before.
Yeah, I remember someone told me the only good thing about Katrina was it wiped out all the slums of Gulfport.
Yes, absolutely. Unfortunately, left a lot of blank spaces too.
Left a lot of blank, yeah, like the library and that big hotel, Markham Hotel. And, yeah, it takes a long time to recover. In fact, the opening scene, I read a poem about Katrina wiping out a house.
Is that right?
Yeah. So very relevant to this. And so this book, the new book, Gulfport, is coming out August 20th, right?
August 20th, that's
So
right. I have the launch signing at the Pastor's Chan bookstore on the 21st.
21st?
On the 21st from 5:30 to 6:30, and of course I invite everybody out. We had a very successful launch of this book at the Pastor's Chan bookstore, and
It's a cute little bookstore.
oh, it's wonderful. Very good.
And so 5:30 August 21st, you'll be launching this. If people, this should be out just before then, the show, so you get to hopefully get a couple more people signing up for that.
Absolutely.
And then, and where is this book available?
Well, this book is available in most of the local bookstores or on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, typical outlets like that.
But you have a lot of photography books out, right? This is the first one you've done as a group, but you've had other photography books out, yeah?
Not personally.
No? Okay. All right, you did the Cat Island book.
The first book was basically a history, so it was more prose than photos. So.
And I thought it was interesting, both of you were born in this area and grew up here, and now you're both back living here. You never left, right, Jason?
Never left. Been here all my life.
And what have you done while here? You have a job,
I work for the Mississippi Department of Health as an environmentalist.
I love environmentalists. I mean, my girlfriend always accuses me of being a left-wing liberal, and I have to agree with her. But so what do you do as an environmentalist?
I evaluate property for on-site wastewater systems.
Okay, that sounds interesting.
It is.
How long have you been doing that?
I've been doing that for 15 years.
That's
Photography is more of a side hobby, and I like to keep it that way because I can do it on my terms and enjoy it.
Yeah, I said earlier before the show, it's so hard to make a living as an artist. And then John said, well, I did it. So tell us about your career, John.
Well, I after I got my degree here in Atlanta, in Gulfport, I moved to Atlanta. And I worked for several advertising agencies and art studios before opening my own business. And I had that for 25 years. I was a commercial artist and illustrator and designer. And we even did TV and radio. So it was a full-service agency when I finally shut it down, but I started out basically as an artist.
Yeah, that's great. Made a career of it. That's
right.
Wonderful. My mother was a professional writer. One time she calculated she'd made 3 cents an hour for the whole year.
Is that
Yeah, show us your book one more time to the camera.
Sure.
And this is now available in most bookstores.
That's
and
right.
on August 21st is a book signing for your next book
Called
at
The
Pastor's
Lost Gulfport. Everybody from Gulfport will enjoy reading that for sure.
Thank you all so much for coming on our show. It's so good to see you.
Thank you.
I'm glad that you could come.
Yes, sir.
Go to my website, doctorsdreams.com. You can pick up any of my books or any of our guests' books. All the guests have been invited to put their books on my website and get them directly from there.